television success. Will you welcome one of the stars of television's Golden Girls, and delightful to have Bea Arthur with us. Bea Arthur!
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, the last time I saw Des, I don't know, it was 10 years ago, 11 years ago, whatever, you were pregnant.
Oh, yes, of course. We were doing a cover, it was on Desert Content tonight,
yeah.
Something like we were doing here, and we were covering this thing about a man having empathy with a woman during pregnancy.
Yes, yes.
And they made me wear something.
And I don't know, you were very pregnant at the time.
It's about 14 months, I think.
I would say so, yeah.
Now you're here in London, opening tomorrow night.
Yes.
At the,
Monday night.
Monday night?
Yes.
At the Savoy.
Yes.
That's the theatre, not the,
yes.
the hotel. We'll talk about that in a moment. We've got to talk about the Golden Girls.
Oh, well.
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, imagine that would be the worldwide success?
No, I never entered my mind. I mean, I just thought, well, a hell of a great show, but I never dreamed that... you know, that worldwide, everybody loves it.
It's still on now.
Yes, all over the place.
And some of the storylines, they were kind of raunchy for the time, weren't they?
Well, I tell you, I think that had a lot to do with the success of the show. It was the first time that elderly, or not elderly, but certainly older women were shown to be, first of all, fairly attractive, well-groomed, great earrings, active sex lives, you know, which had never been seen before. I mean, you always assumed, you know, they'd either be in a chair or they'd even smell kind of funny. But there were these four women, you know, having a ball, and it was wonderful.
I think the show, the strange thing about it, it appealed right across the board, even though it was about four mature ladies. Absolutely. It was appealing to kids, teenagers, youngsters.
I know exactly why. For the youngsters, because it was so anti-establishment. You know, I mean, the mother-daughter relationship.
I love that relationship. Estelle Getty.
Yes.
Oh, she was just...
Yes.
But the weird thing is it worked even though you didn't really kind of look like mother-daughter.
Well, that's why it worked. I mean, this love-hate relationship. Also, the fact that I'm here and she hit me about here, you know. And it was, it was just
there's
perfect.
a picture of you there with Estelle Getty. Yeah.
And it's still running, and I mean, some of the episodes were absolutely hilarious. Can you kind of pinpoint one of them that maybe you couldn't get through a scene, or just the fun
What,
of it
with
all?
Estelle?
With any of them.
No, but I loved the fact that there was no, you know, she didn't mince words. I had a visit from my ex-husband, Stanley, who was really a terrible human being. And when he left, I said, why did I ever marry him? And she said, because he knocked you up. And I said, why did I ever let that happen? She said, because you were drunk. So, I mean, it was...
Bit of honesty and truth.
But the one that I loved the most was she entered us into a mother-daughter beauty contest at Shady Pines. And for the talent section, we did Sonny and Cher doing I Got You, Babe. And it was marvelous. It was marvelous.
Now, strangely, when you started out in the business, and you've had all this success in comedy over the years, but when you started out, you started out as a singer, didn't you? You weren't particularly keen on comedy.
I went to dramatic school where they cast me in all kinds of Shakespearean classical things. I was, you know, the tall lady with the deep voice, and I played Catherine and Lady Macbeth and all of these things in school. And when I got out, I realized, certainly in New York, no one was hiring young Shakespearean types at all, you know. So I thought, well, I'll start singing. I had a nice, you know, low, sexy voice. And everyone was trying to emulate Lena Horne at the time. Do you remember Lena Horne?
Yes, I do. Just remember.
So I lasted about 3 nights.
Now, tell us about your one-woman show. It starts on Monday at the Savoy Theatre.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful evening. We toured with it. We played all over the place.
3 years you've been doing this now?
Yes.
About 3 years?
We played Broadway. We toured the States. We played Australia, Canada. We just came from South Africa, where we played Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Fantastic.
And it's just me and Billy Goldenberg, who is my accompanist and co-author and friend. And we just put together an evening that's kind of wonderful. It's not totally autobiographical, but a lot of it is. A lot of it is. And there's a lot of great music and a lot of ribald humor. And yeah, and it's a good evening. It's a good evening.
You've done big musical shows on Broadway like Mame.
Yes.
How does it compare standing there alone and delivering your songs?
Well, how did it compare? Well, it's totally different because you can't rely on anybody else to bail you out.
It's up to you.
You know, that's it. That's it.
So I suppose the good thing about it for you, Bea, is that you don't have to think how long is this going to run? Is it going to run a year? You can more or less choose when to do this.
That's what's so wonderful about
great.
it. Wonderful. Yeah. We do it when we want to do it, and not when we don't.
Now I'm told, and I'm fascinated, that you start and end the show by reciting a recipe for cooking lamb.
Yes.
I'm intrigued.
Yes.
You want the recipe?
Well, no, I tell you that the way that came about. And you shouldn't give away much secrets.
No.
You come to see the show.
Forget
about what he said. No, the big thing was, how do you start a show? And I didn't want, we think of, women come out, they say, gee, but it's great to be here, and I thought, I cannot do that. I mean, I'm too old for that ridiculous thing. So it was Billy, my pianist, who said, why don't you just tell a recipe? Because we love to cook, and So I thought, hey, great, what a great idea. So we do. I start with a recipe.
It's different.
With a whole evening, yeah. And then...
and you finish with that?
And then also...
Be well cooked by then.
Yeah, but not just that. Then at the end of the show, I tell what can be done with leftovers.
Listen, you've been working all these years, a star forever. Well, dare I ask you, do you ever think about retiring?
No, I tell you, this is so interesting. I must. Do I have a few more minutes?
You have about 30 seconds.
No, when we were touring in the States, we were in someplace in Kentucky. I was being interviewed on television by a lovely, lovely young woman who suddenly said to me, "You're so old. Why do you keep doing this? Why don't you take it easy?" And I thought, I was completely nonplussed, But then after I calmed down, I suddenly thought, and I said, actors never retire. They don't, do they? No, I mean, it's not like working in a factory or something, where you can't wait until it's over and you get your pension, and you go to Mallorca or Torremolinos or one of those shitty places. Anyway, it's just you go on, and then if a part that you like calls for an older person and you like it, you play it because that's what you are.
So no retirement?
No.
We don't want you. We're going to come and see you at the Savoy. Good luck with that.
Thank you very much.
Stay in London. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
Bea Arthur.
Thank you.
Thank you.